One day ahead of what's expected to be history's biggest ever initial public offering. SpaceX's IPO tomorrow is expected to be priced at $135 a share, putting that company at a valuation of more than $1.75 trillion. Let's get what this means for investors and SpaceX employees by welcoming, as we often do, the head of Matthews Financial and Insurance Solutions. Good morning, Jason Matthews.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's talk about those lucky folks who are going to be instant overnight multimillionaires. Something like 4,000 employees could be instant overnight multimillionaires, about 400 expected to get 100 million or more. If someone is lucky enough to find that sort of immense wealth overnight, what should one do? It's almost like winning the lottery a couple times.
Right, a huge amount, right?
Yeah.
First thing you should do is definitely want to plan ahead, right? Because there's so many different things you have to consider, right? You take all this, the first thing you have to do is pay Uncle Sam.
Right.
So you really want to make sure you have your team in place so you do proper tax planning regarding it. Talk to your CPA, your EA, your financial advisor. Have the team on what's the best strategy you could do to liquidate those funds and put it in your pocket without paying so much to Uncle Sam.
A lot of these workers, from what I understand, started, they were hired 10 years ago, making like $80,000 a year. This is a big change.
Huge change. This is life-changing event.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing about here in the Bay Area, or when we see a lot of these tech companies where you have these stock options and perks all the way. And if you work, you move up, you keep getting more and more of these stocks, and one day they bust and you could be super wealthy if you're lucky.
You're talking about generational wealth here. All right, let's talk about the rest of us. There is definitely a feeling out there among people who don't invest, and it's the, I got to get in on this.
FOMO.
Push. There you go, FOMO. How should we talk to ourselves in that respect?
Right. Remember, just because it's a great company does not mean it's a great investment.
Okay.
You shouldn't buy an investment just because it's sexy and you have the fear of missing out. You still want to look at the financials and does it actually make sense? You just don't want to buy because you hear all this excitement and hype behind it. Yes, SpaceX is doing some great things, but you should understand the underlying thing. In the future, do you think this stock will appreciate and grow based off the finances, not because it's sexy and it's hot and you see so much great things about it on TV?
Are you seeing this in your clients, folks talking to you about this IPO who've never even said those three letters together before in a sentence?
Oh, yeah, definitely. People are like, how can I get into this, right? Which fund? What do we have to do to purchase it tomorrow when it has opening? And I said, let's look at your overall plan and see how this is actually fit in your retirement plan. Is this something we should do or not based off of those expectations? We just want to buy just to buy. It has to fit into your overall plan.
Got it. Because these people think they can outthink the market, right? I'll buy it at 135 and then I'll sell it when it's at 500. I mean, is that kind of the thinking we're all?
Exactly. But people forget about those IPOs that bust and don't do as good as they thought 6 months, 8 months, 9 months later as well. So you don't always just think about the upside of things. Think about what could actually happen when we look at history when it comes to a lot of these IPOs that have these great excitement times. I'm not saying it's going to happen to SpaceX, but understand history and what usually happens to a lot of these IPOs.
So for the vast majority of investors who have like mutual funds, retirement accounts, not very sexy, are they going to be in on this in some way?
Yes. Okay. So one thing about SpaceX, it broke all the rules. So one thing is they're now going to be in the NASDAQ 100 after just 15 days, which is they broke a new rule. So most people in their 401k plan and their mutual funds are going to have some type of SpaceX inside of their portfolio already, even if they don't buy it individually.
I think about those people who were hired at $80,000 and they thought, oh, I could probably make a lot more money going somewhere else. Now they're going to get $100 million or more. And it brought me back to a line that I heard on a podcast that I love, and I'll bounce off you. When you get that job, it's not just the job. You're getting the keys to the building. You might have unlimited wealth, unlimited success. We have people in our newsroom right now in this building who started at, an overnight morning producer, and now they're managing entire stations. Is this sort of what you might see in this SpaceX trajectory and growth and wealth?
I think, yes, you do. And I think it just shows the benefits of really working hard and finding a good company that you see that you have a great future with, that you don't just look at what's happening today, but what can happen down the road as far as your career, your income, and your wealth.
Yes.
Working for these great, fantastic companies.
That long-term view. All right, Jason Matthews, it's good to connect. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Jason Matthews of Matthews Financial and Insurance Solutions. We're taking a quick break. 7:27, right back on this first day of the World Cup Thursday.